Welcome to today's Bald Traveler RV maintenance tips. Today we're going to be working on replacing our marker lights on our trailers. For those of you who don't know what a marker light is, a marker light is this right here. When you're going down the road at night, these light up. There are 2 yellow and 1 red on our trailer, and on each side I've replaced all the other ones except for this one. These are original, or were original to the trailer, and the issue that we're having is that this lens piece here just pops off and we lose it going down the road, or we lose it and then we end up with this here. And even if we buy replacement pieces and put them back on, they just keep popping off. So they're 5 years old, they got a light bulb in them, and we're just going to replace them with an LED model that I got off of Amazon. I got 14 total. We've got 7 red marker lights on our trailer and 4 yellow, and then we've got a 5th marker light that acts as a porch light for going up and down the stairs. So we're just going to work on replacing this one here today. We had a dream to travel and see the world as locals and not as tourists. After a lot of hard work, we decided in 2021 to downsize and sell almost everything we owned. We then put our house on the market. We bought a 5th wheel, which we named Serenity, and then we hit the road to see the US. We are working to build the Bald Traveler into a travel resource for geeks and nerds who want to travel and see where their fandoms are based. We encourage you to subscribe and comment to follow along on our journey. Let's get ready to travel baldly together. So here's the kind of the workspace that I've been working on today, and the tools that we're using. I've got a Swiss Army knife with a flat bladed. I was using this to pry the lenses off. We'll have to do it on the red LED one, but as you saw, we didn't need it there. I've got wire cutters. These are just standard wire cutters. I've got a pair of wire strippers. I've had these for years, but you can use wire cutters, or this is for butt connectors, and it's also got the wire strippers at the front. And then I've got a focus. Let me bring it over here so it'll focus better over here. Yeah, I've got some very simple focus wire connectors here or butt connectors that I'm using. So we'll go back and get started with removing everything that we need to remove. So we'll get you 2 angles here. Head cam with my Insta360 Go, and then this camera here. So I'm just using a square connector. In this case, I'm doing it on my drill just to back out these square screws that Keystone uses and almost everywhere that I've seen on this RV. So that's the first step, and then I'm going to go and get a razor blade. And Keystone uses silicone to attach these here. If some other adhesive is used, you need to kind of match adhesives when you're replacing these on your trailer. So I just score around, and I do this after I remove the screws so that it makes it easier to kind of pull everything off. And I just lightly score just to break the silicone adhesion, and come back up, and then I just kind of lightly pry it away with it, and then continue to break the seal as needed to kind of get it to pop off, and it'll just come right off, and you'll be left with some silicone on the side. So I just kind of work my way around gently, holding onto it, and there it is. And then I pull these wires out so that I can get to them, and I actually pull the actual wires themselves out. And as you can see, we've got 1 green white and then 1 pure white. The green white, in our case and in most cases, the one with the color on it is going to be your positive wire. The one with that is pure white is going to be your negative wire. The old lights just had these black wires attached, and I'm going to snip them here and then use my butt connectors here. That way I don't have to worry about reconnecting here, and these wires are different sizes, and dealing with butt connectors is just not a fun thing. So I just snip these off and go back. And then the other thing I need to do is I need to clean up around where the old silicone is. So I'm going to leave this attached while I do this. You can take it off if you want. You just want to make sure you don't lose these wires down in there and have to fish them out. Ask me how I know that. This is just a plastic razor blade. I've got a whole pack of them. I got them off of Amazon a couple years ago, and they last forever, but they don't have any sharp cutting surface, so they're really good for kind of scraping on sensitive areas like against paint, so you don't have to worry about it. And so you're just gonna come around and scrape your paint off, or scrape your silicone off here. And so I'm going to go ahead and stop the camera. I'm going to go ahead and do this because it's just painstaking and takes a while, and you don't need to watch that. And then when it's done, we will continue. Okay, so I've scraped the majority of the silicone off. You're never going to get all the silicone off, especially old silicone. It's going to want to adhere. The next step is to take a little bit of alcohol. In this case, I'm using some hand sanitizer we had laying around. And you just want to clean the area. One thing to note is if your adhesive that they used was silicone based, you need to use silicone to replace it, because silicone only sticks to silicone. No other caulk or adhesive is actually going, or sealant is actually going to stick to that. And the same thing is true as if they use something like Dicor or something like that. Silicone is not going to stick to that very well. So you want to reuse the same silicone or silicate that they use, sealant that they used, or adhesive that they used. So I'm just kind of wiping this up. You can be as anal as you want. I spent a couple minutes just cleaning it up. And then the next thing we do is we take our angle cutters and we just snip these off like that. And then I'll go get the strippers and the other pieces. Okay, so I'm back. I'm going to keep the wire cutters here because I went through I don't know how many butt connectors on this project already. So I am stripping these back about 12 millimeters on my cutter. You just want enough to fit inside the butt connector. Okay. So you just want to twist your wires, and then you put your butt connector in, and these butt connectors have color coding. So the first little recess here is for blue and yellow butt connectors. We have a blue one, so we'll put it in there. I've been using a mix of blue and red depending on what I have. You just kind of squeeze it down and then give it a tug to make sure it's okay. Again, twist the wire and then put the butt connector in, bring it in, squeeze it down, test it, good to go. Now let's go get the light. So these trailer lights, when I bought them, came pre-cut, so I'll have to trim these. I am going to use the straight shot screwdriver. You just kind of put it in here like this and pop it, and it pops the red lens off. There are red LEDs underneath, so that should be all I need that for. So I'll put that back in my pocket. And again, I just cut these off so they're shorter. About there is good. About there is good. And as a reminder, I always start with the positive, which is the red wire on this connector. Then I find my green or my marked wire here, and I put it in, and let's see if I am successful in making a good connection. Right now my running total is about 60%. So again, you're going to push it in and come in just a little bit from the end and squeeze down, make a good connection. Yay, try it. And then we're going to do the same for the black. Give it another good twist or two. And the last one, the second one is always harder because everything is like pretty much preset. But I push it in, I hold it, and then squeeze down, get a squeeze, and then see, yay. So there we go. We've got a good connection. And then the next thing, we'll take our tools back, and then we'll go get the silicone. So I've got my paper towel that I use to clean with. And since I've got a little bit of the silicone left, I'm using that as a guide. I'm just using a tube of clear silicone that I picked up at a local hardware store here. It's indoor outdoor. It is non-paintable, but that's okay. We don't need to paint it. And you know, it's 100% silicone. So the first thing that I do is I just, using the very inside edge, I run a small bead to kind of help with adhesion as I'm going along. Yeah, I'll put a bigger bead on later, but I'm just using this as just kind of a glue almost. And then I come back here and I put a dab on each hole, and then there's some holes for the wires to stick out of, but ours are actually, as you see, going through a hole here. So I just put a little bit of silicone in each one just to kind of fill it up in the back, and that way when I go to actually seal around the outside, I don't have to worry about it. And you know, I got a little bit extra, wipe it off with the paper towel, and then I'm going to go get my screws and my screw gun. I'll be right back. So I'm reusing the screws that came with, simply because they're in good condition, that were existing, not that they came with. It came with screws. They were not self-tapping screws for going through the sheet metal. The other thing is, if you're using a drill, make sure you put it in forward. And so I'm just going to set this up here and put my wires back in like this, and then I'm going to see how well we line up. And we don't line up at all because they put the other ones in other places. So just because I'm going to put a little dab of silicone to seal both of those holes, and then I will force the wires back through like so, and then I'll find out where this wants to go, and then I'll use the drill to punch in, and then I'll do the same on the other side. And so now it's attached, and the last step is to waterproof this. And this is where it gets really messy. And so all you do is take your silicone, run a small bead around. Try not to get too much on, but just enough. And that's always a subjective. Come down from the bottom. And that pretty much uses up that tube of silicone for all those. And then taking my paper towel, I'm just going to run my finger along to make a nice bead and wipe off the excess. Come down. I'm trying not to take any out of that hole that I've spent time filling. And then I also want to clean up the sides, so use a finger and then just kind of run finger along, pick up the excess. You can wear gloves if you want. And that's that. Last step. Put the lens cap on. And there you go. That's how you replace a trailer marker light. I will go back up my truck, turn on the lights, and show you that it actually turns on. So hold on for that.